Are you ready? It's time for Disturbin the Burbs.
Hey there, welcome to Disturbin the Burbs. I'm Jen Sharon.
And I'm Jim Sharon.
October's a good month, though.
Yeah.
Lots of reasons.
Yes. What are some of the reasons that October is a good month?
It's my birthday.
Yep, it is your birthday, and you just celebrated it last week.
I did.
Do you want to tell the listeners how
No,
old you
I
are?
don't.
Oh, okay. Now, did you have a good birthday?
Yes, it was lovely.
Even though
My family loves me.
it was a very special COVID birthday.
Yeah, it was a birthday at home.
And yeah, there wasn't much hoopla, but
It's okay, you guys spoil me.
hopefully you had some fun.
Definitely.
You got your favorite dessert in the whole wide world, which was...
Chewy fudge brownies.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want cake.
She didn't want cake, folks. She would rather have chewy, gooey
Brownies.
Duncan Hines brownies.
You made them perfectly, too.
I did. I have the touch. Or I am touched. I'm not sure. One or the other.
Both, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
you-
also, besides my birthday, this is Disturbin the Burbs anniversary month.
Yes, it is. We started 1 year ago on Halloween. And so we wanted to do, a couple, at least 2 or 3 anniversary shows. So we're releasing this one late in the month.
Yeah, I can't believe we're already to, what is it, the 18th?
Yeah.
Or is
Well,
it the
no, it's the
19th?
19th, and
I
I'll
mean-
probably get this released tomorrow. So
We've got 3 episodes in us.
I know.
So-
yeah, we've got to crank a few out. So you might
Make this happen.
you might be tired of Disturbing the Burbs by the end of October, but
I got you.
but we'll crank them out.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do this episode, which follows our typical format, and
It's jam-packed, though.
it is jam-packed. And one of the things that we wanted to do for our anniversary, since the first episode was we talked a lot about ghost stories and our own paranormal experiences, that we kind of put out a call to our listeners and other folks if they had any ghost stories that they wanted to share with us, that we would do a remote interview and yada, yada, yada. And I was actually really surprised at the response that we got. We got a bunch of people.
Such a great response.
Yeah, and so we've interviewed a good handful of people, and we're going to play a few of those interviews on tonight's episode. And then what we'll do is we'll do a shorter episode. Maybe we'll call it the Ghost Dump or something like that. And do just a few of those interviews, and then release one more.
Disturbo-rama.
Yeah, Disturbo-rama. And then just do one more episode probably on Halloween.
Our actual anniversary episode.
Yep, on Halloween, which is Saturday night.
Love it.
Full moon.
Good plan.
Full moon Saturday night. Halloween. I have a feeling like shit's going to go down.
Well, we're going to stay at home. So.
Yeah. Shit's going to go down at home.
Yeah.
It's going to go crazy. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's first up?
First up is the Disturbin the Burbs watch list for the last few weeks since we've released our last episode.
I always like
We
this
watched a few things. I always forget what we watch, so I know this list is far from complete. But these are some of the things that stood out from us that we watched recently. So the first one on the list is Hubie Halloween. And this is...
It's a Netflix original.
Yeah. And this was a movie with Adam Sandler and Julie Bowen. And in true, Adam Sandler fashion, he's bringing his quirky characters to the screen once again. And I would say that if it's close to any character that he's done before, it's probably Bobby Boucher in The Waterboy.
I was going to say Waterboy.
Yeah, it's probably closest to that character. And the movie takes place in Salem, and Adam...
obviously it's a Halloween movie.
Yeah, it's a Halloween movie, and...
Family friendly.
Yes, very, very family friendly.
But has a charming little
right.
storyline, and...
Yeah, I just couldn't see Julie Bowen as the love interest, though.
No, that's true. That was a reach, but...
it was a little far-fetched that there was a love story attached to this, but, hey, you just got to let go of reality and conventional wisdom.
We're not talking Emmy winning material here.
Right.
But it was a charming and amusing.
Yeah, it was amusing, and it's on Netflix.
I'll give it 1.5 thumbs up.
Really? Okay. I thought it was. I thought the production quality was actually really, really
No,
good.
It was.
The storyline was all right. It wasn't peppered through with really dumb characters like a lot of Adam Sandler's movies are.
True. Yeah.
It was
Although
really,
there was some good cameos.
yeah, there was definitely good cameos, but usually he brings in his standard group of buddies, and they all just have really dumb roles, almost unbearable sometimes, and those are really kind of kept to a minimum.
Yeah.
The slapstick, and just kind of nonsense wasn't there.
I think this movie is saved by good writing.
Yeah,
Family friendly though it is.
very good production value.
I'd
It
say
didn't
watch.
look like it was cheaply made.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, we watched that, and then we watched Beetlejuice, which of course I've probably watched I don't know how many times, but Carter hadn't seen that one yet, and he really wanted to watch Beetlejuice. So
I enjoyed it because he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite.
yeah, it's been a long enough time that I enjoyed it. Of course, the thing that I probably enjoyed the most was seeing Alec Baldwin in his youth, because that was probably one of his first movies that he was in.
You think?
Oh yeah, it's early on in his career. I don't know whom. I'm no expert, so we could check out his IMDb. But and Gina Davis, and of course
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder, that we know her in Stranger Things now. But
I know. I said
was
to Carter, "Hey Carter, that's the Stranger Things mom."
Right.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a little surprise there. She's much younger, and that was very, very early on in her career as well. So, and one kind of honorable mention that we wanted to bring up here was the Sci-Fi Channel is now airing Harry Potter movies. I think they're calling it Dark Arts Sundays or something like that.
They've got the rights, I guess, now.
Yeah.
And it used to be ABC Family Channel.
Yeah, and so now it's Sci-Fi on your local cable network.
Worth mentioning because of the extra scenes.
Yeah, we're big Harry Potter fans. We've probably made that known throughout our episodes.
Yeah.
And we've watched the movies countless times. And when they were on ABC Family, you would get extra scenes. And if you'd watch those movies on ABC Family enough, you'd see those extra bonus scenes that weren't shown in the theater.
Or on the DVD.
Yeah, or on the DVD. You'd see it, and you're like, okay, been there, done that. However, when we were watching the sci-fi versions of them, there was yet more
Different
extra
than
footage.
what ABC Family had.
Yes.
So
and
it's like little new Easter eggs. that you
yeah,
haven't seen
it was
before.
it was a bit of a surprise. So, folks, if you get the chance to watch Harry Potter movies on the Sci-Fi Network, do it, because there's some little extra scenes that you haven't seen before. So what's next on the list there, Jen?
Well, I wanted to mention a Disney Plus movie that we saw called Secret Society of Second-Born Royals.
That's kind of a mouthful, isn't it?
It was long.
Secret Society of Second-Born Royals. Secret Society of Second-Born Royals. Secret Society of Second... Yeah, I can
Nicely
say
done,
that.
dude.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that was kind of interesting. It was a fun concept.
Also
and again,
family-friendly.
very family-friendly. I was looking for sex and drugs and
Yeah, we were
violence.
not.
It had none of it. So it was quite disappointing to me personally. I guess I have to watch HBO Max or Showtime or
Yeah.
just Netflix.
Not Disney Plus.
Yeah, not Disney Plus. So yeah, it was good.
Not to give away too much, but the
give it away.
the firstborns that are the crown heirs to the crown of all these different countries, they get all the attention, and the second-born kids
Right.
get
They're
shit.
chopped liver.
Right. But in this movie, they're actually part of a secret society that's basically superhero powered.
Right.
And they get to go around with doing missions and saving the firstborn royals and saving the world. And
Yeah.
I
So
think that's a cute premise.
it was cute and interesting, and all right.
I guess this list of hits and misses this week is kind of all family friendly. Seems like.
Yeah, The Sleepover, that was another one we watched on Netflix. And it's been long enough that I don't even remember really what that one was about.
It's the one with Malin Ackerman is the mom.
Right.
And the kids figure out that she used to be a jewel thief.
Oh, right. Yeah. And so,
And they have to follow her clues.
yeah, and they kind of get pulled in on a caper.
Yeah.
And hilarity ensues.
Also family friendly.
Very family friendly. It's October. It's the family friendly month. Anyway. And then after that one, another family night movie that we watched. We were looking for something a little comedy based, a little scary based, and there's some kind of comedic horror movies out there. Shaun of the Dead always comes to mind when I think of a funny, scary movie, zombie movie. But Extraordinary it's an Irish movie.
And this one was not as family friendly. It was more mainstream. And
a little bit more mainstream, a little bit of some naughty bits here and there.
Yeah, that British humor, comes through, which Ireland
I just remember the final scene of in the movie.
Well, don't give plot away.
Yeah, I'm not going to give plot away.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking in your eyes, Jen, to see if we can make the connection of what had happened at the end of the movie.
You guys have to watch it.
It was pretty funny. I think it's a few years old. Very.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I guess I thought it was new.
I think it was like 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
So not too old.
Well, we had not seen it.
Never heard of it.
Carter enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was actually pretty darn funny.
Yeah.
A very cute.
Extraordinary.
Yep. Ghost type movie, supernatural movie. Who was the guy that was in it that played the aged singer?
Was it Will Forte?
Yeah, Will Forte, and he was in The Last Man on Earth or something like that on Fox a couple years ago. But Saturday Night Live alumni was pretty much the only American in that movie.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But everybody else was Irish. Which made us think that we should watch Waking Ned Divine, which is another...
Yeah, because Carter mentioned that he really liked the humor.
Yeah.
And, he hasn't seen a ton of British humor or Irish humor or whatever. And so that made me think, okay, what else could we watch with him that was that similar? And that's when that came to mind.
Yeah.
I showed him the trailer and he thought it was worth watching at some point.
Yeah, it's a hilarious movie, especially the old dudes riding around on the motorcycles naked with mud splattered up their backs. It's pretty funny. If you've seen Waking Ned Divine, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that one's several
If you've
years
never
old.
seen it, it's quite old. It's at least a decade old.
Well, at least, yeah.
But anyway, watch Waking Ned Divine. It's pretty funny. And then finally, we just watched last night when we were looking for another movie. You guys came up and saw, what was it called?
Love and Monsters.
Yeah, Love and Monsters.
Brand new release on... just Xfinity or on demand.
Yeah, I think we saw it on demand. I don't know where else you can watch it. Probably on Amazon Prime or whatnot. But again, very cute type movie. Family. Don't you think it would be considered a family movie?
Yes, there was gross monster stuff, but it really wasn't very bloody at all.
Right.
So I didn't notice what the rating was, but I'm sure it's not R.
Right.
Probably not even PG-13.
Yeah. Well, the premise is that we had shot a bunch of missiles up into space to destroy
an asteroid.
And
it worked.
Yay. Blew up the asteroid, but all of the chemicals and fallout fell back down to Earth and created these huge creatures which would normally be minuscule, like giant frogs and giant slugs and giant this and cockroaches and everything, and
so basically it's post-apocalyptic.
Yes, with a sense of humor and whatnot. So, and there's a love story attached to it, thinly veiled,
and the main character is all kind of pathetic, and he finds himself and finds his strength, so it's that kind of feel-good story as well.
Yep. So that's a good group of movies.
Gave that one two thumbs up. Yeah.
So to recap, we've got Hubie Halloween with Adam Sandler, right? Pretty good.
Yep.
Beetlejuice, always a classic.
Yep.
Harry Potter movies. This is the perfect time of year to be
Sci-fi.
watching Harry Potter, right? Halloween, magic, sorcery. And then Secret Society of Second Born Royals.
Yep.
That was good. The Sleepover. Extraordinary, and finally Love and Monsters.
It's a good list.
Yeah, that's a good list. Got another good list here for us to go over.
Yeah.
And these are, I thought it would be interesting. I didn't realize it, but I stumbled across an article and didn't realize how many horror movies have actually been filmed in the Seattle area.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I didn't even realize, I would say 90% of the movies on this list, I was surprised to find out that if some if not all of the scenes were filmed in Seattle. Some in the surrounding area.
I was aware of 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, the first one on the list is your and I favorite.
No.
Your and my favorite, The Ring.
Hideous,
This is one of those movies that pretty much made Jen swear off horror movies altogether.
You know it.
Whenever we talk about horror movies, this one inevitably comes up because the way it was filmed.
It's like the first generation of the new special effects, where the whole the stuttering filmmaking.
Yeah,
where
the
all of a
jittery.
sudden the ghost is like closer and then closer, and then it's like all of a sudden right up on you.
And basically, they achieve that by kind of removing, what do you call it? Frames. Yeah, and so it makes it kind of jittery, and that's the main horror character in The Ring. And I don't care if we're doing spoilers here because this isn't about
it's old. It's
spoilers. It's more about where they were filmed.
So where was this one?
Yeah, so this one, The Ring, for those of you that have watched it, there was a bunch of scenes filmed in Seattle, Whidbey Island, Port Townsend, and even not too far from where we live, actually, they filmed some scenes in Monroe, Washington.
Wow.
And then apparently, I don't remember, it's been so long since I've actually watched this movie, but there's a lighthouse scene which was filmed in Newport, Oregon at the Yaquina Bay Lighthouse.
Oh, we've been there.
Yeah, so we've been to at least driven by. It was closed when we...
Oh, okay.
But we drove by because it's supposed to be super haunted. I think there was at least a couple people that had died in the lighthouse itself. Somebody is rumored to have been killed from a fall while it was being built, and they're poured into the foundation or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't find any information related to that. But there's certainly lots of tales around the lighthouse itself being haunted. Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting.
For sure.
Yeah. So
almost makes me want to watch it again to notice the locations, but I'll take a pass. Next up, one of the oldest movies on our list, The Changeling.
Right.
From 1980.
This is one that I have never seen before myself, and it's really kind of a stretch because it was primarily filmed in Victoria and Vancouver, BC.
I mean, I consider that's Pacific Northwest anyway. I know that's a stretch, but yeah, there were some scenes filmed at the Stimson Green Mansion, which is on First Hill here in Seattle.
Sure, and I guess that's a really neat. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a mansion because it doesn't look like one, but it's a really neat house. That's definitely what they call it.
It's a location for weddings. It's definitely a historical manor.
And I don't know anything about the movie, so I don't know if it's purportedly that the Stimson Green Mansion, or as they're using it in the movie, is haunted or anything like that.
Yeah, no.
But if you want to check it out, it's at 1204 Minor Avenue in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
So.
Oh, and there's a few other scenes around Seattle. They filmed at SeaTac.
Oh, okay.
They filmed at the UW in Red Square.
And you went to UW. Where's Red Square at?
Smack in the middle, baby.
Is it? That's
where the libraries are.
Okay.
And the administration. It's
so they
definitely central
around there.
Yeah, big open brick space. But then also at the Space Needle, Rainier Tower, and I-90 Bridge.
Oh,
so
nice.
This is not set in. For some reason, I thought this movie was more set in the past kind of thing, but obviously not.
Yeah. All right. So there's a lot of scenes filmed around Seattle.
Yeah.
So if you want to dig that one out of the past, The Changeling with George C. Scott.
I will at least look up the plot and tell you if I'm wrong.
Yeah, right. There's another movie filmed in 1999 called Lover's Lane. I don't know anything about it. Didn't have much information about it, but
Apparently
it was
a horror movie.
Yeah, it was filmed in Redmond, Issaquah, Falls City, and North Bend.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then we have The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which is one of the ones I have seen.
Yeah, and I actually have very vivid memories of this movie, too.
You just like Rebecca De Mornay, don't you?
Well, no, I'm not so much.
Annabella Sciorra, well, she's foxy, too.
Yeah.
Matt McCoy, don't know who that is. Ernie Hudson, he was in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
It was filmed in Tacoma, and the main house is at 808 North Yakima Avenue in Tacoma, if you want to visit that.
All right. Location. That's the one where I think Rebecca De Mornay plays like a nanny or something, and she wants to steal the baby.
Or she wants the husband and wants the wife gone, something like that.
Something devious.
Yeah.
That only Rebecca De Mornay can portray.
Right.
She's devious. Next movie is The Vanishing, and that was filmed in 1993. It stars Jeff Bridges, Kiefer Sutherland, Nancy Travis, Sandra Bullock.
And I have seen this one.
And we've seen this one, and I knew that it was filmed in the Seattle area. But it's funny because every time that we do a little traveling to the east side of the state, where I'm originally from, we tend to gas up in North Bend at the gas station that one of the initial main scenes was filmed at. And if you go to that particular gas station in North Bend, they've actually got posters from the movie on the wall and photos from the movie and that sort of thing. So
it's set. I mean, I don't think we're giving anything away. It's the central point of the movie. This is where the abduction happens,
right?
You know, at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely think about that every time we go there.
Yeah. Even as we're driving by, I kind of sometimes think about it. But anyway, there were a bunch of other scenes that were filmed in like Mount St. Helens. There was an apartment that they had here in Seattle at 200 Aloha Street, Department 20. Some of the scenes were filmed there. So, hey, folks, why don't you just show up to, what was it, 200 Aloha Street, Apartment 20, and just say, hey, we're here. Anyway, remember Sur La Table? Now, that particular Sur La Table on Pine Street is no longer open, right?
I think, or it's going anyway.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite
great kitchen store.
Kitchen supply stores. Other scenes were filmed in Pioneer Square, Snohomish, our hometown, and Monroe, Washington, as well as the Seattle Yacht Club. So all over
might
Seattle.
Be a fun one to watch again,
right?
With locations in mind.
Yeah, and just kind of see if we can spot them.
After that, we've got another one I have seen, Twin Peaks.
Oh,
the original
yeah,
Twin Peaks movie, 1990. I guess some of the initial scenes were filmed in Snoqualmie. And then also North Bend and Fall City. So.
Yeah. I think in the beginning of Twin Peaks, there's a scene of the Snoqualmie Falls. I think at the beginning, but I couldn't tell you what that show was about. It's been so long ago. It's 30 years ago, for Christ's sakes. So I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember there was a murder or a girl wound up dead.
Yeah, that happens in the beginning, and then it's that murder mystery.
Right.
And I don't even remember if it had more than one season. I think it had follow-ups, and I just saw the initial set of episodes and didn't keep with it.
Right.
But a lot of people. I mean, it definitely has a cult following.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right. Next up on the list is an old ancient movie from 1973 called The Night Strangler. And all I really know about it is that there were scenes filmed around Seattle and the Space Needle. If you can even find that, whether it's digitally or on DVD or something like that, I mean, good luck for one. But what would be interesting about that is 1973 Seattle, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Just to kind of see what the city looked like back then.
We don't really need to call 1973 old and ancient.
Isn't that when you were born, Jen?
Well, I mean, that's when my younger sister was born, so
well,
let's move
does
along.
she listen? She's old and ancient. No, just kidding, Steph.
There's another one after that.
Right.
And I actually have seen this miniseries as well. It's,
oh, have you?
Rose Red, Stephen King's Rose Red.
Right.
From 2002. Mm-hmm. And this was a miniseries based on the Snow White, fairy tale, but kind of turned on its side.
Mm-hmm.
Then it starred Nancy Travis. That's another one. Didn't we have Nancy Travis in another one?
Yeah, she was in The Vanishing.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
She was just a horror queen back then.
Anyway, careful how you say that.
Its main filming location was Thornwood Castle. And
right.
That's in Lakewood, Washington.
Right.
8601 North Thorn Lane Southwest, if you want to go and find it at all. That's a pretty cool location.
Yeah.
But then they also had locations around Space Needle, Magnuson Park, Building 27, UW campus, and other areas around Seattle.
Yeah. Anything else?
Just that Thornwood Castle is supposedly haunted due to unfortunate deaths on the property.
So that might be something that you want to go visit here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, all you ghost hunter types.
And especially on full moon Saturday night. Thornwood Castle seems like it might be a good destination
Yeah.
Especially if you're into hunting ghosts. And finally, number 9 here on the list is the movie Fear, starring Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon. That was in 1996 that they filmed that. And that was, I think that might have been Marky Mark's first movie, Mark Wahlberg's first movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is he a bad guy, or?
I think, yeah, if I kind of remember.
I don't remember this one.
I think I saw it maybe once, but this was early on in Reese Witherspoon's career as well.
Yeah.
And had some scenes that were filmed on Mercer Island in Seattle and also in Vancouver. And also, there is a scene filmed in a amusement park, kind of on a Ferris wheel.
Yuck.
With Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon, and it's a very special scene. So if you go to watch the movie,
okay,
look for the scene of Reese and Mark Wahlberg up on the Ferris wheel. It's a very special coming of age scene.
Okay, so we are talking. Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I'm just saying somebody's character might have lost their virginity. All right. Anyway.
Good list.
That was a good list. Yeah. Lots of movies on our hit
Some
list.
might be worth revisiting, knowing the locations.
Oh,
for
and
sure.
yeah, and definitely lots of horror movies filmed in the Seattle area. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to do? You want to listen to some listener ghost stories?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, let's get right to it. First up is our interview with April Baker.
Okay, here we go.
So I think we'll just kind of crack right into it, April. Right. Tell us a little bit of background of when and how and where your experience happened.
So I was born mid-70s. We moved into a house that had actually started out as a store on Boeing Field. And there were 2 of these houses, stores that they converted to houses and brought up onto Beacon Hill. The other house burnt down to the ground almost immediately after they had moved it onto the hill. And then there was our house, which also was about a block from a cemetery. So I don't know if this,
combination,
but there was constant activity in this house.
Mm-hmm. So just to kind of place this in my head, is this a house that was located south of Seattle?
Yeah, it was on Eddy Street.
Okay, so near the Boeing plant and Boeing airfield.
Boeing Field, yeah, right off I-5. If you just head straight up the hill onto Beacon Hill, it was right up there.
Okay. So did you say that it burnt down, or
the other house burnt down?
Okay, got it.
And then there was our house.
All right.
Our house had constant activity. A lot of people described it as if you were listening to a ballroom, like faint, happy laughing, people's glasses cheering, faint music playing, and it was kind of nonstop above your head all throughout the house.
Really? So how old were you when you lived in this house?
I was 4.
4. So pretty much about when you start remembering things. And
yes.
I can probably think back to about when I was 4 years old, and I have faint memories of that. So do you have actual faint memories, or are they based?
I do because some of them were traumatic. My mom being so scared, having to take us all out of the house. We had to leave a couple of times because it got so intense.
Really?
My goodness.
Right.
So was it just the sound, or were there actually?
No, there was actually occurrences that would happen. My dad, unfortunately, at the time, spent a lot of his time at the Jolo Tavern up the street.
Okay.
So it was just my mom watching over me and my sister.
Right.
My sister is 5 years older than me, so she was about 9 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, it would only happen at nighttime, would hear under her bed this rhythmic clanging on a pipe, like if somebody were to take a wrench and just hit a pipe, like clank, clank, clank. And she would hear that under her bed, along with the other, voices and stuff in the house. Mm-hmm. But then she would hear me and my sister up in our room talking and laughing and playing. And her first instinct would be, what are my kids doing up? And she'd run into the room and we'd be sound asleep.
Oh, boy.
Another time she heard, she was up because she was hearing this noise under her bed. And she heard our window go smashing in, the entire thing shatter.
Oh, wow.
She jumps out of bed, getting ready to prepare herself for an intruder. And she flung the door open and nothing, no glass broken, nothing. And she said It was as loud as a window shattering all over the place.
Wow.
I am really feeling for your mom.
She had it really bad. I mean, she had tried to tell my dad what was going on with the clanging noise, and he, I guess, kind of brushed it off, didn't believe her. But then one night it started up while he was home, and he immediately jumps out of bed, grabs his flashlight, goes underneath the house. There's nothing to be found. Anytime it was, investigated, there was no reason for it. Nobody could find anything.
Yeah.
There were other times, like the radio in the car, even when you would shut it off, would never be off. And I think it just was the energy around that house. But the radio was always on. And even one time my sister got a transistor radio for her birthday. It went blasting on in the middle of the night, laying in the middle of the floor, and my parents came running in to turn it off.
Yeah, that would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. But another time I remember my sister and I, my parents had a meeting early in the morning, and my sister was getting ready for school, and they told her, just get ready for school. We'll be home to pick you up in time for school and take you to school. But I remember having to wait out on the porch with my sister, and my sister was just sobbing. And as my parents pulled into the driveway, my mom's heart sunk because she knew my sister had experienced something. And sister was crying and telling my mom that there were people in the house. So that was her experience.
So how long did you guys
everywhere?
How long did you guys live in the house?
We lived there for I believe 5 years.
Oh my God. And so and was it nonstop the 5 years?
It was nonstop, but they had a priest come and bless the house because we went to St. George, and we had one of the priests come from St. George to bless the house. And for the last 2 weeks that we lived there after the house was blessed, there was no activity.
Mm-hmm. So how long did the activity last altogether, do you think?
About 5 years.
Well, so 5 years.
So the priest didn't come in till close to the end.
Right. He came in right at the end.
Wow. I'm surprised that your folks were able to put up with it that long.
I'm surprised too.
Right. Yeah. Is this house still existing up there?
It is. It's still there.
Do you ever drive by it?
Of course. Well, all of my family lived on Beacon Hill for the longest. So every time we would go there, we would drive past the house. And
sure. Have you ever gone up and talked to the current residents at all?
No, I never have, because I sure would love to know if there was anything else that had happened after we left. But
right.
Yeah, I never went back.
So was it pretty much just kind of like audible stuff, the laughing and the glass breaking and the pipes being knocked, or did you guys ever see any entities or anything like that?
Nobody ever saw any entities. It was just the, appliances going on. There was another time the vacuum turned on by itself. So it was just like voices and, lots of loud noises.
Right.
Any like cold feelings or goosebumps?
Yes, there was definitely cold spots in the house.
That doesn't mean anything because I'm getting goosebumps right now. And did you ever find out? Did you ever find out any background of the house of who had lived there previously and why there might be?
Like I said, the house was actually a store on Boeing Field that they converted into a house and moved up onto the hill.
Wow. So that, leaves it kind of open-ended.
Right.
Yeah. You only lived there on Beacon Hill, right?
Correct.
So it's just, you got to wonder, was there a store issue or a Beacon Hill issue?
Right. And like I said, I don't know if, it had anything to do with being in such close proximity to the cemetery.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that might be it. It might be if it was close proximity to a cemetery, you could be getting some activity from that. I don't know enough about ghosts. I've just had my own experiences. Jen's had her own experiences. And so I don't know what the difference between, a spirit manifesting itself visually as opposed to one that's or multiple ones that are making noise and sounds and voices, and what the difference of energy is between those experiences. Have you done any research on that, or are you just wanting to put that behind you at this point?
It's always piqued my interest throughout the years. There was some strange occurrences that happened at my grandma's house as well. I mean, they used to play with the Ouija board in my grandma's basement.
Yeah. That's a hard no.
Yeah, I don't even think they realized what they were getting themselves into, because one time they were playing with the Ouija board and they asked what it was my great grandmother's grandfather's name was. She was the one that asked the question because she didn't believe that the Ouija board was real. And she said, if you're real, what was my grandfather's name? The Ouija board actually spelled out Thaddeus Joy, and no one in the room knew that name whatsoever. Wow. And that's when my grandma threw the Ouija board across the room.
No doubt.
Was scared to death.
I would have chopped it up and burned it.
Another thing that happened in that house, my mom's boyfriend at the time died in the shower. He actually had previously dove headfirst into the Green River, and his head got lodged between two rocks and he became paraplegic. So he was taking a shower in the basement and slipped and fell and eventually died. So there was some strange things that happened in that basement. Also, my uncle, who I ended up living with for the last part of his life when he was actually dying of AIDS. He lived in that basement. I stayed there with him, and we used to always listen to Elton John. And after he passed, every time I would walk into the kitchen, the radio was on and an Elton John song would be playing. I would turn the radio off. I would leave the room. I'd come back later. The radio would be back on, and then another Elton John song would be playing. Mm-hmm. The radio would always be back on whenever I'd come back into the room. And I remember one time I was sweeping in one of the rooms, and the light bulb above me just blew up. It shattered all over the place, all over my head, onto the floor. So
wow. And this is
weird.
This
for some reason, the radio gave me goosebumps for some reason.
Well, yeah, I mean, it must have been an evil entity if it was playing Elton John every single time. So was that pretty much the end of your experiences? Did any energy follow you into your adult lives, or has it been just pretty much?
What's weird is that I always would dream about paranormal activity. I always have dreams about spirits and ghosts, and they always take place at my grandma's house.
Sure.
Every single dream that I practically ever had throughout my entire life would have some sort of paranormal activity happening in it. And it was always at my grandma's house, in the front yard, in the backyard, in the basement. It just always took place there. So I don't know why I was dreaming about this. And I would dream about this before I even lived there. As a kid, I would have dreams about spirits in that house.
Wow. Yeah. So do you try to avoid like movies with supernatural?
That's the only type of movie that I can't watch because
same.
It's just too real for me because I dream about it so often, and in my dreams I'm just like paralyzed with fear. I can't move a lot of the times because there's so many around me. But those types of movies I definitely try to avoid.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, all right, April, thank you so much for telling your ghost tales. I want to give you an opportunity to do a little plug of your business. I know you have a cake business. So is there anything you'd like to tell our listeners?
I make delicious cakes. You can find me on Instagram at A Baker's Cakes.
All right. So, folks, if you're wanting a delicious cake, perhaps, a little scary cake. I don't know. Look up that address. What was the address again on Instagram?
It's A. Baker's Cakes.
A. Baker's Cakes for delicious cakes in the Edmonds area.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, April, for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being a guest, and I'll let you know when it airs. All right. Bye-bye.
So anyway, that was a good interview with April. It was a lot of fun chatting with her.
For spending time with us.
Yeah. And so next up on the list, we had a listener send in an email of her ghost story. So Jen's going to read...
This is Faye Pettibone's account of her ghostly experiences.
All right, here we go. Thanks for sending that in, Faye.
Yeah. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Faye Pettibone, and I grew up at 209 6th Street in Snohomish, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
From an early age, I knew that our home was inhabited. It was not until I got to be a little older that I realized it was full of spirits. Many. I had so many experiences in and around that place, but 3 experiences really come to mind over the random moving objects and disembodied voices in the family home. Really, that was a normal for me. I started to experience the sound of a baby crying when I would take a shower and put my head under the running water. It was every time I showered. I never told anyone about it, and with time, moved out and started a family. My brother still lived in the family home, and he started talking to me about his experiences. He came over one day expressing how disturbed he was about things that were happening. He told me about hearing the baby cry when his head would be under the water in the shower. I was shocked that he was experiencing the same things that I had. That solidified for me that what was happening was authentic. That still blows my mind to this day. I always saw glimpses of figures in the home, but once got to experience a full body apparition. My oldest brother and I were home alone. He was in the living room and I was in the kitchen washing dishes. There was a window above the sink. Because it was dark out, you could see everything that was happening in the room. They became reflective at night. I saw what I thought was my brother walk past me and go into the bathroom. I waited for him to come out so I could go in and use the facilities, and he never came out. I knocked on the door and nobody was in there. I asked him if he had just gone into the bathroom, and he assured me that he had not gotten up from his show. The 3rd episode that stands out is when my brother died on the property in 2008. The same brother that heard the baby crying. We were all sitting in the dining area during his memorial service. We heard the door open and a man's voice said, "Hey," as if they were saying hello. We expected someone to come walking in, but no one was there. Mind you, there was probably 7 or 8 of us that experienced this together. We couldn't believe what we had just witnessed. We have no doubt it was my brother Galen. I couldn't wait until this evening to send this to you. After Mom died, we sold the home. I wish I would have thought to do some EVP work beforehand. The end.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice series of experiences. So thanks, Faye, for sending that in.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Just so weird. I mean, that these things just happen, in people's homes.
Yeah. Yeah, these are, you'd think that these would be, what would you say, rare occurrences, but with as many people that we have interviewed over the last couple of weeks,
It's been eye-opening.
Yeah, it's been pretty eye-opening of how many experiences people have just like this.
Wanted to take a quick second to define EVP. You look that up for me. What was it again?
It was
Electronic.
I guess I'll look it up real quick for you. Let's see. EVP. And there's probably people listening right now that are screaming it out while they're listening. It's electronic voice phenomenon. So what?
Just cut it in.
Yeah.
So we wanted to define what EVP means.
Yeah, EVP is sounds found on, recordings, basically. So when people talk, well, hey, we got some great feedback, from our EVP recordings, it means that they're ghost hunting, and they've got their high density recording equipment that can pick up, the faintest whisper.
Right.
And they go and they put these EVP devices around everything and try to record in a known haunted area. So
Electric voice phenomenon. Thank you.
Well, that's what I'm here for you. Okay. And finally up with the last interview that we're going to play today was from a self-proclaimed ghost hunter, Miles Huber. So let's go ahead and take a moment here and play his interview. Very entertaining.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Miles, you sent out a video to me that was pretty compelling.
Yeah, it's that's actually taken right outside of my house, which is kind of the scarier part of things, So
Right, we have a webcam on our front porch as well, and I find myself looking at that thing and the recordings every morning. When I wake up, just to see if there was any activity, if anything was on the porch. Usually it's triggered by cats coming on the front porch, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I haven't really seen any anomalies yet. I think it would probably scare the shit out of me if it did show up. But yours was pretty amazing. Jen hasn't seen the video yet.
No, I'll watch it after.
Yeah, but that one's a little hard to explain, you know?
Yeah, so honestly, I've watched it probably 13,000 times, and when I'm sitting there watching it, so I woke up probably at 7:30, my normal time when I wake up, and I saw that we had a notification late, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't some tweaker stealing something off my front porch.
Right.
So what I did is I look at it and I was like, that is absolutely bizarre. And I watched it again, make sure no cars are driving by. And then for people because you guys can't see the video right now, basically what you see is a white mist kind of come across my garage, and then a black shadow person walk in front of the camera.
Right.
And you can watch it as many times as you want. I've done it, and I just can't figure it out personally. And when I saw it, it spooked me. I called my wife and I was like, hey, did you see what was on the camera last night? And she's like, no. I was like, well, go check it out and then get back to me. And she called me freaking out. And that's, and I think that's something that I actually brought back from one of my investigations, but we can get into that a little bit more further down this conversation.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just kind of curious, that was back in, did you take that video in September? Is that when it was, or was it more recently?
I want to say it was actually in August when that was taken, and we haven't had anything else happen like that again, so
sure.
It's it's absolutely odd.
Yeah, it's something something that's moving like that triggers as a human. It's thick enough, or it's
Exactly.
concrete enough as a human or whatnot that it shows up. So right now, the house that you live in, I mean, have you experienced any other kind of, paranormal activity like that? Or has that been the first and only experience?
So when we first moved in, so I've been ghost hunting for probably, I want to say 15 years. I started when I was fairly young. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as we moved in here, me and my wife at the exact same time, we were watching a movie downstairs in our living room, and we saw an orb fly across our TV, both of us at the exact same time. And I was like, that is absolutely bizarre, right? But I saw it as black and she saw it as white. So we saw it as two different colors.
Oh,
and
that's odd.
Yeah, and I was like, huh. So ever since that moment, my wife's senses has been like absolutely heightened, right? So she's always feeling something watching her. We always hear like the creaks and, all that stuff in the house. But this is a fairly new house. It was built in 2005. So there shouldn't be too much of that.
Yeah. Is there any cemeteries nearby or anything?
The only cemetery that is even close, it's probably about 1.5 miles away. But we are right off the train tracks. We are pretty close to the Tulalip tribe land.
Oh, ancient Indian burial ground.
Yeah. So
we'll watch Poltergeist.
Yeah,
we know what's gonna happen.
So and that's exactly what my wife thinks. She's like, there's something weird about this place. I was like, well, I don't think it's the house. It's a fairly new house, so it absolutely have to be the land. But that's if it didn't follow us home from all the shit we've been talking over the years, So it's just one of those things that
I mean, do you feel a good energy? Do you feel a bad energy? What do you
when I do feel it, it's more on the creepy side, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
But that could just be because I can't see it, So I don't know. To me, I think it's a female. My wife thinks it's a male. So like we have very contrasting ways we feel about it, the way we've actually seen it. It seems to mess with her a little bit more. It kind of leaves me alone. I don't really have too much of an explanation here at this house.
Yeah, man, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh man, so tell us more about your ghost hunting. You've been doing that for about 15 years, you said.
Yeah.
Just like off the top of your head, and one point I definitely wanted to make before we dig into that is that you kind of go searching for this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And so, well, I'm just saying probably your senses are a little bit more in tune to it.
A little bit.
Because, in talking to the gal that we had on this morning on the podcast, that was just the random happenings that went on in their house. They weren't looking for it. They didn't know how to explain certain things. But you've been doing it for so long that you probably kind of got your spidey senses. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely correct. So basically, the more you're exposed to something, the more you're going to be able to tell what's going on. So, when your hair raises, when you just have that weird feeling, that it's not just your mind playing games on you, that there is something around, instead of just kind of idly going off saying, I think I'm just kind of being weird about it. It's more me. It's not really the stuff going on around me.
Right. Do you ever try to explain it away? Or do you just kind of embrace it and accept it for what it is and are like, well, that could be,
So when I want to deny it, so like in the house, so at my house, I like to deny a lot of things just because this is where I stay, and I don't really want to admit that something could have followed me because I absolutely enjoy ghost hunting, but right. I don't want to bring it home to my kids or anything like that either, So right. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
Uh-huh. Well, let's go down a little path here and saying bringing it home to your kids. Now, I watched some of your
I watched at least a couple of your videos that you have up on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were joking or if you were serious, but you also kind of half joked about it being a demonic entity or being surrounded by demonic entities. Do you feel like, what's your belief system as far as what ghosts are? You know, do you feel like they're evil entities? Do you feel like they're the dearly beloved that have not moved on? What's kind of the basis of your belief there?
So my absolute truth is I have no clue, right? So, but what I do know is, or what I do feel personally, is that it can either be demonic or it can be loved ones. But I also feel that it might also be some aliens out there, you know? So, yeah, so we just don't know exactly what it is. Like, if someone were to say, I absolutely know that this is a demonic, this is a person, this is an alien, then they're just lying to themselves because no one absolutely knows those answers.
Right.
So for me, I think it depends on the situation. I've had a lot of encounters where I think it's human. I've had some encounters where I think it's demonic. It all depends on the feelings, the evidence that you get. It really just depends, you know?
Sure. So yeah, let's dig into your ghost hunting. I don't know if you had a couple of incidences that you wanted to specifically talk to us about, but I'm curious of, you know, what kind of like the scariest experience you've had while you've been out ghost hunting.
So the scariest time was actually down in Seattle. Now, so if we go back in time, let's go back to like 1935.
I'll put a sound effect in here.
And then, so we're going to go to the Martha Washington School for Girls, and it's actually the Martha Washington School for Delinquent Girls. And now it is just a park. It's called the Martha Washington Park. Listeners can go to it. They can go do their own ghost hunt there if they want to. But this is where I had my absolutely most terrifying experience. I was down there with a couple of buddies and my wife, and we were walking around there, and we are sitting basically where the foundation of this school sits.
And what time was this? What
I
time?
was going to say that too.
It's late. It's probably 1 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
Maybe
so
1:30.
So you're getting close to the witching hour is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I would consider it in the witching hour. I like to say like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. is like the prime time to go ghost hunting.
For sure. 3:30 is always the time for me.
Yeah.
3:30 a.m. every time.
And how come it's not during the day, right? How come it's not like, you know, at like...
It'd be so much nicer.
Yeah, you know, at like 1 p.m. or something, then crazy shit. I could deal with that a little bit better, you know, but...
Right.
So we're sitting down here at this park, and it's right off of Lake Washington. It is dead silent. There's not even owls howling, nothing. You know, it's just super quiet, and we're sitting there asking questions, and we're not getting much. So we're getting a little bit angry. So we're starting to be a little bit more antagonistic and asking more like deliberate questions to Martha Washington herself. And then we start asking about, you know, the murders that happened there, because there was 5 or 6 murders that happened there. 3 of them were done by a janitor at that school, and he actually dumped the kids off the dock that is actually still standing there today.
Wow.
So we're kind of staring at this dock, and I'm sitting there, I'm being antagonistic, and in my ear, the person standing right next to me, keep in mind, does not hear this. I'm the only one that hears this. And I hear a shh, like it's trying to hush me. So I turned to my buddy. I'm like, hey, did you hear that? And he's like, no, dude, I didn't hear nothing. So he starts talking, and he starts talking very aggressively. That instant, something changed in the atmosphere, and we heard something scream at us. And it was like, the only way I could describe it is if somebody was getting taken, you know, or if someone was about to get like drowned or something along those lines. That's it was a blood curdling female scream. You couldn't distinct that as anything else. So I take off running. I leave my friend there. I'm like, dude, I can't handle it. So we both start running, and we get back to the car, and we go over all the evidence. And then we end up catching that that was in my ear actually on the EVP recorder that I was holding.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, so So it gave us a little bit of validation. We caught the scream as well. We've taken it to different like natural experts, making sure that it wasn't an owl, that it wasn't something else like an animal that could have made that sound. It's not a call. It's not a scream or anything that they've heard of, you know, especially not in a city. So it was just that one right there still to this day gives me chills just because I can still hear the scream. And that's the craziest thing that I've ever heard in my life, you know.
So where was you said it was Martha Washington School for Delinquent Girls?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like that's like it's straight out of a movie, right?
Yeah. And it's crazy.
So where's it at now?
So it's not a school anymore. It's demolished. It got demolished.
Right.
Yeah. So it's you can Google it. It's called Martha Washington Park.
Okay.
And it's right there on Lake Washington. It's just right off the water. And the foundation is still there. The turnaround like driveway thing is still there. You could see where everything used to be for that school.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I asked that because there might be some listeners on
want to go hunt it down.
Yeah, that want to actually go check it out.
Yeah.
I have a question now. You said your wife was there with you and your friends?
She was, but she was actually in the car looking at our X cameras. So we set up IR cameras. And she was in there just watching those while us dumb boys went out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's the smart one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna make sure you didn't just take off running without her. So.
Oh no. She was our way out of there. She was in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. So, have you had any experience with objects moving?
Personally, I have not. I've caught a couple things on camera where we've had. So I got this teddy bear. It's like a REM pod teddy bear, and it registers electromagnetic field. So if something gets close enough to grab it, so if a human goes up and grabs it, or it will start flashing colors. And we actually put this at this graveyard that is in Seattle. That's actually going to be my next story for you guys. We were there and we were hanging out.
Nothing creepy about a teddy bear in a graveyard.
At
all.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's kids in these graveyards, you know, so we wanted to
bring a porcelain doll.
You know, that would be super spooky. Porcelain dolls absolutely give me the heebie-jeebies, man.
Yep.
So we have it on camera. We weren't around. No one else was around. And the teddy bear just starts lighting up all the colors, you know, like someone literally just grabbed it, picked it up and started shaking the thing. But the teddy bear didn't move at all. It was just the colors flashing. So it sent something around it. But yeah, I've never experienced anything like flying across the room or anything like that. I've heard voices. I've seen like maybe like shadows, you know, but those things could also just be games of the mind. I only like to really say something if I have it caught on like EVP or, you know, video, or because people can make up stuff and
sure.
So
yeah, that's pretty interesting. So what else you got for us?
So this is the other place that I want everybody else to kind of check out. It's called the Grand Army Republican Cemetery, and this is actually right next to where Bruce Lee and his son is buried, the Lakeview Cemetery. So it's right across the street from those guys. And this is the place that I keep on going back to. I got a tattoo on my arm that is kind of looks like this place. It's a cemetery. And this place affected me the most. And like I said, it's the Grand Army Republican Cemetery. You guys can look it up. So the first time we went there was me and my wife, and I actually saw a post on like Shadowland or something like that talking about this place. No one's ever been there, but apparently neighbors have seen apparitions and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, this seems like it's worth our time to go down there and check out the cemetery. So we go there and everything's kind of just normal. You know, you walk through a cemetery, well, as normal as it can be at, 1:00 in the morning, at a cemetery. And this cemetery is old. It is actually for our Civil War heroes. One of our Medal of Honor recipients from like 18 I don't know, it's like 1832 or something like that is there. So it is a very important place for the history, not only of Washington, but of the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's tiny, man. It's got like 500 gravestones. It's really not that big, but they're all dilapidated. Some of them are knocked over. So we show up, we're sitting there, everything feels normal. And then we hear the sprinklers turn on. So we rush off. As soon as we get back to the pathway, the sprinklers shut off, and we're like, huh, that's kind of weird. So the next day, I end up calling the Seattle whoever runs it. It's like the Seattle Public Works or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I call them up, and I was like, hey, are there sprinklers there? They don't even have sprinklers there.
No.
So I was sitting there with my wife, and I was like, hey, can you tell that to my wife? Because she thinks I'm lying to her right now. So I put them on speakerphone. They're like, yeah, man, there's absolutely no sprinklers there. We want to put sprinklers on a property right there, whatever. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, we absolutely have to go back with all the equipment, everything like that. So I go back there. I set up probably 13, 14 different EVP recorders. I do all my questioning. And at this place, there are a whole bunch of headstones that are kind of tipped over. So I put some EVP recorders on a couple of those, and you can hear me kind of talking in the background as I'm going through. And on 2 of these recorders, we actually picked up some scary EVPs. One of them, after I called them a coward, I was like, you guys are cowards. You guys fought for us, but you guys are being cowards. You guys are coming out talking to me, this and that.
Right. So you're challenging them.
I am, absolutely, and on one of the recorders, right after I say that, dude, I swear to God, like 7 seconds after I say this, it says, I died for us. And in like British tone, like it sounds like a British dude saying, I died for us, like old English, Mm-hmm. And as soon as I heard that, keep in mind, I'm reviewing this probably a day later, super late at night, in my living room, in my underwear, alone, watching this, and I hear this, and I was like, there's no way in hell I just heard that. So I end up having all my friends listen to it, and they all hear the same thing, which makes it a Class A EVP. If you and other people can hear it, then it's Class A, which is the best class EVP that you could possibly get.
Right.
Now during those same moments, I got another recording of a lady. She was screaming, why can't I get out? And it was the most scariest thing I've ever heard. And it was quick. It sounded almost robotic. It was like, why can't I get out? Mm-hmm. And it was within 5 minutes of this other recording. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what was going on that night, whether the energy was perfect or something, but to get 2 Class A EVPs within 5 minutes of each other is almost unheard of, man.
Right.
And were they both after you yelled the challenge?
Yes, exactly. So if you go to Grand Army Republican Cemetery and you challenge them, boys, you will get you will get some recordings. Right. However, that is a spot where I think something followed me home, and like right after that investigation, we had a whole bunch of stuff go wrong, like the movie stuff, kind of like the clock stopped. They wouldn't work, even analog clocks that we had. Like I replaced the analog clock battery probably 50 times, and it would stop around the same time every time, which is like 3:20, 3:10, and I was like, this is absolutely absurd, man. Mm-hmm. And it just stuff like that has just kind of followed us. So fair warning, if you guys go out and you guys want to talk some crap to some ghosts and all that, just know they're not stuck in that one spot. They might follow you home.
Yeah.
Jim, I'll be your monitor in the car, girl.
Right. We've and I work for the company that owns Como Channel 4, and we also own Star 101.5.
Sweet.
And every Halloween, the morning crew from Star 101.5 goes down to Kel's Irish Pub.
Dude, that's on my bucket list, brother.
Yeah. Well, be listening to the podcast because I've got some recordings from that where we get those voices in the white noise. I don't know what the technical term for that is.
They usually use like a spirit box. That's usually what like the investigators will call it, where it kind of flips through the channels. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's they caught it on the recording, and for the longest time you hear this static.
Yeah.
And then through the static, you hear the name William pretty clear. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they were right in the mortuary. Yeah, and so
wasn't that Mr. Butter something? What was the original name of that?
I want to say Butterfield or something like that. But,
yeah, it was like the Butterfield. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but we'll get a little bit more into that in one of the episodes that we put out in October. Yeah, so we're gonna have one of the crew on the show and talking about their experiences in Kells, and then I have actually somebody else that works next door on the other side of the wall at Sonia's that has a bunch of strange experiences that happen just on the other side of Kells. So that should be So Miles, I wanted to ask you, what's next for you with your ghost hunting? What's on your bucket list? Where would you really like to visit?
So honestly, a couple of the close ones. So like the Oxford House.
Oh yes,
is one of them, and that's right there in Snohomish, man. That's super close,
Yeah.
So I've actually emailed them. Since it is a running business, they have to do it in between certain times, and they probably get a bunch of calls, especially this time of year. So like what I'm gonna end up doing, I'm probably gonna hit them up around like Christmas time or something and start it at that time so I could try to get in there.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's one of those places where I'm willing to pay to get into and all that stuff, because I've heard just awesome stories. It's close. The building is absolutely cool looking, so it'd look cool on my cameras.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of cool things. Another one is Rucker Mansion right there in Everett.
Right? Yeah.
That's another one that's supposed to be really cool. And then another one is the Hawthorne Mansion in Tacoma.
Yeah, I've heard of Hawthorne.
Yeah, and that's the one that Stephen King wrote his one book after, with the house that keeps on growing. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, so Stephen King wrote a book about that one. That's one of the main reasons why I want to go to that one. So those are probably my top three: is Oxford, Hawthorne, and the Rucker Mansion. I think those ones would be absolutely fun.
Well, with any luck, Brian, the owner of the Oxford, reached out to me when I did my call out on the Snohomies Facebook page, and he said he'd love to come on and talk ghost stories with us. So I'm going to hook you two guys up if he manages to come on the podcast.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome, man. Because like this community, it's super small of people who actually go out there and try to find this stuff. So when you can find other people to go out and investigate with and all that, it's fun, and it makes it so much better and safer. So yeah, I'm always down for that. And on the bucket list, of course, Kel's Irish Pub is on there as well. I just wanted to make sure to tell you that,
Yes, it's definitely got an interesting energy about it. I've never been on a ghost hunt there, but we were up in that upstairs portion at least 2 or 3 years ago for one of our cousins' birthday parties, and I kept on looking back into that back area where the mortuary was, and you let your mind play tricks on you, and that sort of thing. But you just kind of feel an odd energy knowing what's kind of going on behind you. You've been to the Oxford Saloon, though, right?
Yes, I've been there. I've gone drinking there with buddies and whatnot. And when you do go there, you do feel something a little bit odd. You
totally do.
You can't really put your finger on it, like exactly what it is. You don't know if it's just the people in the room or whatever. But when I was there, I was like, this place has something weird about it. Like there's history here. You can just tell.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been downstairs?
I have not actually, I kind of just stick at the bar with the buddies and hang out, and maybe one of these times when I'm there, I might just have to like slip down there real quick.
Sometimes it's open. Jen, we were there for a private function, weren't we?
Yeah, it was a lacrosse, parents.
Oh, right. And
okay.
we went to the down, and I swear, without even knowing
really all the stories behind there. As soon as we went downstairs, I felt a different energy.
Yeah, and it's almost instant, right? So like as soon as I walked into the building, I felt it. I was like, there is something weird about this place. And me being who I am, I was like, dude, I love this bar. This place is amazing, you know. So it's one of the places that I actually like to go to. I've talked to the owner a couple times, trying to get in there, but like I said, they're a fully functioning business, so it's really hard to get the times in there. And they're a bar, so they close at like 2 a.m. And we would rather be set up at like midnight and go until about 4 or 5 in the morning. So just the time lapse just makes it real difficult to do places like that. Sure. But if I can, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to try.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, you've told some great stories. Going to be a great addition to our podcast. I really appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us tonight.
Yeah, man, I absolutely appreciate you guys too. And like I was saying, man, this podcast is awesome. I listened to a couple of your guys' episodes, and dude, they're pretty cool. So I heard you guys had like a neighbor named Evil Pam, right? right.
Oh yeah, that was in our first neighborhood.
Okay, yeah. So you guys moved far away from Evil Pam, I see, right?
Yeah, we're not sure what happened to Evil Pam. Hopefully, evil things happened to Evil Pam.
Oh no!
Either that, or she saw the error of her ways.
Yeah.
More mellow.
Right on, guys. Yeah, and yeah, I appreciate you guys, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
Right. Thank you.
Right
give you a plug. Check out Nerdy White Guy. Right.
Yep, it's Nerdy White. Yep, it's Nerdy White Guy on YouTube. I do reactions. I do a whole bunch of different stuff. If you guys are just bored and feel like laughing, I'm the channel for you. So yeah, it's Nerdy White Guy at YouTube. And yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Miles.
Thanks again.
All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks, Miles, for the interview and taking the time to talk to Jen and I.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun chatting with you.
That was really a fun one.
Yeah. And hey, what's next on the list, Jen?
It's time for the haunted horoscopes.
Oh, haunted horoscopes. I don't know that they're really that haunted, but when I was writing them, I tried to keep Halloween in mind. So there's a few little nods to
You have a gift, honey.
Halloween. Oh, I'm gifted. All right. All right. Take it away, Jen.
Okay, here we go. Somebody or something is going to push your buttons this week, Aries. But whatever you do, do not lose your cool. If things go sideways and you find yourself in a scary situation, don't forget to reach out to your personal Scooby, Shaggy, Thelma, and the rest of your crew. Teamwork makes the dream work.
All right. This is the perfect time to try something new, Taurus. Something that really gets your adrenaline pumping. Maybe this is the perfect time to try your hand at ghost hunting at your local graveyard. Yay! If that's not your speed, just be willing to take risks this week and get outside of your comfort zone.
Excellent. Well, Gemini, it's time to dust off your Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, or Grindr app, because right now it's the perfect time to get your flirt on and find a new fuck buddy. Jesus, Jim. Just remember to be careful what you ask for so it doesn't come back to haunt you.
I was like writing.
Yes, I know you like that, dear. Honestly.
You should read these ahead of time so you know what you're getting into.
I probably should.
All right, your spidey senses are in overdrive, Cancer. Between you and your significant other, together you guys are unfucking stoppable. If you're single, hang on tight because somebody with high energy is going to come into your life. Zap!
That's a good one. Try to ignore the complete shitstorm that's going on around you, Leo. Not your clowns, not your circus, as the saying goes. Beware. Those clowns are going to try and fuck with you every chance they get, but don't let them. Be strong. Eventually, the circus will leave town.
I hate clowns. I know you don't like clowns either.
Yeah, clowns are evil.
Yeah, they're evil. This is a great week to try something new, Virgo, especially when it comes to creativity. Time to pick up a few pumpkins and start carving. Or better yet, use a chainsaw. Get crazy. That was a great chainsaw.
Thank you. right, shut up. You can't keep a secret if your life depended on it. But guess what, Libra? This week, your life and those close to you will be changed forever if you can't keep your damn mouth shut. So zip it, Skippy.
You really have a way of saying things, Scorpio. It's almost like you put people under your spell. Regardless whether it's witchcraft or raw natural talent, make sure you have something worthwhile to say this week and don't blow smoke up people's asses like you normally do.
Sometimes you feel invisible, Sagittarius, almost like a ghost, especially at work. Time to cut some holes in that sheet and get noticed.
Well, Libra can't keep a secret, and Capricorn never seems to shut up. At least you're interesting most of the time. Make sure you're using your gift of gab and influence for good this week instead of evil.
Pay attention to your dreams this week, Aquarius, as there are details that could change your life.
Mystery. Mysterious. And finally, let's be honest, Pisces. Last week was a train wreck. It was literally shit from wall to wall. But guess what? That means there's nowhere to go but up. Make sure you take lots of time to socialize, as your friends will help you get through this rough patch.
There you go.
All right, that was the horoscopes.
It's a good bunch.
So we had fun, huh?
That was good.
Episode 22, first of 3. I'm not making any promises.
Jam-packed spooky episode.
Yeah. A few good ghost stories. And anyway, hope you had fun.
I did.
All right. Well, let's do this again real soon.
Let's.
All right. Love you, Jen.
I love you.
Bye.